joining me to color. Today we're going to be working on this adorable Magnolia image called Tilda with floating hearts. Isn't she adorable? I thought she'd be perfect for Valentine's Day. So we're going to go ahead and color her up. She is a card kit, so I'll put a link to her down in the description box in case you would like to do a little shopping. I would love for you to come shopping with me. So I've already stamped my image on some Neenah 80-pound Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo black ink. So let's color. All right, let's go ahead and do her skin and her cheeks first. We're going to start with E11, E21, E00, E000, and for her cheeks I'm going to use R20 and R30. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my E11 first. And I'm going to do a little dab. Let's go ahead and do her hands first. So I'm going to do a little dab here along the bottom of her hand. And same for this side, kind of go along her thumb and then right along the bottom of her hand. And then I grab up E21 and I touch down on the edge of my E11 and I just make another little flicking motion. Same for this side. Next we'll dab on a little bit of our E00. So again, touch down on your E21 and flick up towards the top. Next we'll fill it in with our E000. So I go ahead and I just run it clear across her hand and I fill in the rest of the white space. And I think I'll give her 2 coats. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my E11 again. Same thing, I'm just going to give it a little flick here at the bottom. We'll add our second coat of E21. And then our E00. And then our E000 to go over the entire hand. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start down here on her leg. So again, we'll go with E11 first. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little dab right along this edge. Then I'm going to kind of flick out here and I'm going to go underneath this little kneecap. We'll come away from the edge of this side. And since her hand is resting here, I'm going to go ahead and do a little flicking on that. And then right up here, I don't know whether she's wearing a dress or what, and it's just bunched up, but I'm going to call this leg right here. Same for over here. We're going to go, this is her leg. And then for her leg down here, we're going to go a little bit, and then we're going to come up past her knee and around. And since her arm's right there, I'm going to do a little dab right where her arm is at. And then we'll add our E21. So for E21, let's go ahead and fill in this little space on her leg. And then I'm going to add a little dab to her knee. And I think I'll bring this around the edge right here. And then I'm going to fill in this part of her knee and the bottom of her leg right here. And I'm going to give it another coat so I'm not worried if it's not blended. And then I'm going to go over this with my E00. And then we'll come in with our second coat. So we're going to go with E11 first. E21 next. and then my E00 over her entire leg. So I just swipe it right over the entire thing. And since it's going this way, let's go ahead and swipe this one this way in the direction of that color there. Then grab your E20 or E11 again. And I'm going to say there's a little bit of her arm showing right here underneath of her sleeve that I'm going to cover up. And she's got a little bit of her neck right here. I'm going to color that in. And then for her face, we're going to go underneath of her bangs. So I'm trying to make it just a small little line. I'm not trying to make it too thick. And she's got a little curl there, so go around that. And then I'm going to bring it around over here to where her hand is. And then I'm going to give her a little spot for her nose. So right up here she's got some little dots. So I'm going to take and I'm going to add a little line that goes across like that. Next we're going to add E21. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this line all the way around to the other side. And then I'm going to flick this color away. And I'm not worried if I go over those little hearts because I'm going to color those red. So if I go over the top, I'm not going to stress over it. I'm going to try not to, but if you do, no big deal. We will just cover them up with some red later. And then we're going to add our E00. And I'm flicking away from my previous color. And then we'll add our E00, or our 000. And I'm just going to swipe over her entire face. And again, this color is not going to matter. So if you go right over the top of those hearts, it is not going to matter one little bit. And then we're going to add some cheek color before we add our second coat to our skin. So I'm going to go with my R20 first. And she's got these little dots right here, so I'm going to use those as my guide. So I'm going to go right here on the side, touch down at the edge of her cheek, and flick out towards the little dots. Same for this side, touch down on the edge of your cheek, and flick out into your white space, or in the middle of her cheek color there. Next we'll add R30 to soften the edges. And we always come back and add another coat after we do her face again. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go with E00 this time. And we're just going to brush right along the edge and pull over the top of those cheeks. I'm going to go along her bangs. Same over here. We'll go right over those cheeks. I'm going to go over the top where her nose was. And then I'm going to add my E00 over her entire face. So I'm just going to go right across, back and forth, and add some tone that all down a little bit. I'm thinking I want to pinken up her cheeks a little bit more, so I'm going to grab R20 again. Maybe a little bit more on the side. And then I'm going to go over that with my E00 just for a quick little swipe on the edges. Let's do our hair next. For that, we're going to use E44, 43, and 42. So I'm going to start with my lightest color this time. So I'm going to try it out. So let's go with E42, and I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to color her entire hair. I'm just going to go up here. And if you miss a spot, it's not going to matter because we're going to go over it with the other two colors. But I'm just going to kind of swipe over her entire hair and fill that in. And there's a little heart right here in her hair, and I'm going to try to avoid that because we're going to put some dark colors in here, and I don't want it to be black. We're going to make it red. I'm kind of worried that my dark brown will not, the red won't cover it up, so I'm going to try to be careful and not color over the top of it. Okay, then we're going to take E44, and we're going to add some shadow. So let's go ahead, and I try to hold my pen more straight up and down so that I can keep my streaks or my little lines a little bit skinnier. So I just kind of pull it around in the direction our hair is going. So let's start up here and we'll kind of go down and around and over here like this. And then she's got a little bit over here. And we're just kind of making some little curly cues in here. And same for this side. We're just kind of swirl our lines down around in the direction that it's going. I'm going to go with that for my first coat. Now I'm going to add E43. So same thing, we're just going to add some lines. So I'm just going to go in here and try to go a little bit different than I did the last time. Add some little squiggles in there. And I'm going to come back with a second coat of my E44. And you could leave it, if you liked how light it or how it was the first time, don't put a second coat. I just think it needs to be darkened up a little bit. So I'm adding in a little bit more. Let's do her wings next. For that, we use R01, R00, and our Colorless Blender. I'm going to go ahead and start with my R01, and I'm going to put that where I want it to be darkest. So let's do a little bit here where her wings are attached to her body. And there's some little lines right here, so I'm using that. And then I'm going to bring this out, and there's a little line right here. I'm going to go over that. I'm going to come down here and kind of exaggerate these little swirls that are on her wing. Same thing for this side. Let's go up, and then we'll go in the middle, and then kind of, whoa, that's not good. Look, I made a big blob on there. Okay, wait a second. Okay. So I kind of dabbed it with a paper towel just because I had one sitting here. Now I'm going to take my Colorless Blender, and we are going to go like this and see if we can kind of push this color back onto that wing a little bit. It's not really going to matter because we're going to cut them out. This side is just going to be darker. Okay, so I've let that dry a little bit, and now I'm going to use my R00, and this side is just going to have to be darker, which kind of works out perfect because her hair is kind of leaning over this side, so it's going to be darker over there. And then I'm going to fill this side in. I'm going to come back and add a second coat. We're going to fix, this side has a big dot right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this whole center section of the wing. We're going to try to make it look better since I got that big blob on there. As I fill in the center section, kind of bring this down maybe a little bit right up in here. And then we'll use our R00 and go over the entire thing again. And I'm going to take my Colorless Blender, and I'm just going to kind of go along the edges. Since I want to lighten it up just a little bit, let's go ahead and do just a little bit along the edge. Since I've made this big blob over here and I kind of changed the entire wing. And I still got some spill out here, so I'm going to see if we can tuck that back in. Let's go ahead and do her socks and her shirt next. For that, we're going to use C2 and C0. So we'll start with C2. And for her sock, I'm going to go right next where her shoe is touching this one, and then she's got a little bit of a couple of lines in here. I'm just going to go down those lines, and then I'm going to go right next to her shoe. Same for this one. Let's go a little bit on this side, and then we're going to hit each of these lines. And then I'm going to go right next to her shoe. Then for her shirt, let's go ahead and go right in here. Around this little ribbon she's got on her sleeve. I'm probably going to give that 2 coats, but that's okay. So we're going to go with C0 next. I'm just going to swipe over her entire sock. And then we're going to go up here. And I'm not going to quite fill in all of this area up here because I want to add a second coat. So I'm just going to bring it up a little bit and leave some white. So when I come over with my second coat, it will seem lighter where I left it white. Okay, I'm going to give it 2 coats, so I'm going to go ahead and do my C2 again on my shirt, or her dress, whichever you want to call it. And then we'll take our C0 and we'll fill it the rest of the way in. Let's go ahead and work on red next. For that, we're going to use R29, 24, and R43. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my R29, and I'm going to color these little hearts in. Nothing fancy, just going to color them all the way in. And some of them are pretty small, so I'm trying to use just the tip of my pen. I kind of start up in the biggest spot and then pull down into the little corner. And so there, and this one up here. Okay, then we're going to do our hair bow. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little dab on the bottom, and then I'm going to give the middle a little swipe. A little dab, a little swipe in the middle. And then we'll add R24 over that. And then we'll fill it in with our R43. I really like how pink this one is. Okay, then grab R29 again. Let's go ahead and do her cuff on her sleeve. I decided we'd add a little red in here. You could totally do this gray too if you wanted her sleeve to be gray. So do our 29, and then 24, and then 43. Then for our shoes, again, we'll do 29 again first. So I'm going to go with 29 down here on this bottom section. And I'm trying not to color that lace because we're going to leave that white. So I'm going to bring this down and around like this. And then up here, we're going to do about 1/4 of our shoe. So again, I'm trying not to touch that lace. And then we'll add our 24 on top of that. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in the center of her shoe. And I'm trying to be careful not touch that lace. And then we'll fill in this top part with our 43. And for the next shoe, again, we'll start with our 29. And since this shoe is behind this shoe, I'm going to go ahead and color this in. And we're going to bring this down and around this way. And then same for this shoe. Let's do this section. Be careful of your lace. And then our 24 is next, so I'm going to fill this section in. And then we'll fill in this back section of her shoe. And then I'll take my R43 to fill in this little dab right here. I got a little line right here, so I'm going to give it a little swipe with this one. All right, so I went ahead and I cut my Tilda out. I just fussy cut her out with my scissors. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my Spica Clear Glitter Pen to add some sparkles. So I'm going to add some to the lace on her shoe, because, you know, all girls should have sparkly lace on their shoes. I'm just going to add this on here. And how about the lace on her cuff of her sleeves, too? You can never have enough sparkles. And then I'm going to do these little hearts. And you could use stickles too if you have that, or you could use your Wink of Stella glitter pen, or if you have a Spectrum Noir glitter pen, you could use that. This is just what I had handy, so I'm going to go ahead and just use this. And then I think too, I will maybe add some to her wings. So I probably should have brought my Spectrum Noir brush pen for this section because it has a lot of sparkles in there, and maybe I'll go ahead and do that later. I'll add some more over the top of this, or even some stickles, because it's having a little bit of sparkles but not as much as I would like. You can also add some in her hair. I'm just going over with a second coat, kind of glittering it up a little bit more. And that's it for the sparkles. All right, so let's go ahead and put some of this stuff together. So first off, what you want to do is you're going to want to add your piece of acetate to the back of your love section. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply some dry tape to the back. Okay, and then I had a couple sections where the tape kind of went over the top, so I'm just going to use my finger to smush it over to the other side. And I think right here where there's this big space, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit above the top of that. Right, and I made the piece of acetate, whoops, my finger stuck, big enough to fit over the entire back section. I'm just going to go ahead and smooth this on there like that. Easy. All right, and then I went ahead and I have a giant roll of this pop or foam tape, so I just went ahead and I cut some off already. So I'm going to go ahead and put one piece up here, clear at the top. And I'm going to double it up so I'll have room for my shaker bits. I'll put that one there, and I'm going to grab another piece, and then I'm going to put it above this little L over here. Like this. And again, we're going to double it up. And this, I just cut a piece off and then I cut the piece in half. And then I'm wondering if this piece is going to be too wide. Let's go. I'm trying to be careful to put it right up next to the bottom of the L and over the top of my little scallop section here. And then we'll put this piece on the top of that. And I forgot to cut a couple of little spots for that, so let me cut off another piece. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to go like this. And then I'm going to go, I want it to butt up against this next piece over here, so I'm going to cut that off. And then what I did is I just cut this piece in half. So we can stick this piece in here. And I might need to go a little bit skinnier, so let's go ahead and trim this a little bit more. You may have the perfect size pop dots or foam tape that you're going to use, and I didn't cut it quite enough, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it a little bit more. Stuff it down in there. Let's not get that stuck to our Tilda. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this one too, because that piece, if it was too wide, this one's going to be the same size, so we're going to make it a little bit smaller. And then we'll stick this on top. You want it to be butted up against the piece of the side of the next piece so that none of your shaker bits will fall out. So you want it to be pretty tight right here in the corners. And I'm going to turn it, and let me cut another piece off for this side. And again, I'm going to butt it up against the corner. And I'm going to bring it over here. And oh, see, I made it too long. Just trim that right off. And then let me trim another piece. We'll save that little extra piece for later. Yes. Okay, then we got all that on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some anti-static powder. So it's made for embossing, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to shake a little bit out here, and I'm going to go right along the edges of my tape. In case I got a little piece of exposed stickiness, this will take care of that. Like this. Plus it'll kind of help take some of the static cling off of your piece, so you don't have to worry about it sticking, the little shaker bits sticking in there. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and all this off. And then you're going to get a little bag of shaker sequins that you can divide up. And I literally only took, I just piled some in here, but I literally took like a little pinch of the red ones and stuck them in here. And then I took a little pinch of the silver ones and stuck them in here. And then I have some little pink hearts, whoops, that are getting stuck out here. That's no good. Get that off there. My finger's getting stuck. And put it in there so that it will shake around. I didn't want to put too much because I want it to be able to shake. So I think I have too much in this bag. So I'm just going to grab another pinch here. And we'll see what that looks like. So about 4 pinches in your little sack. And you might want to dump them in a bowl and mix them up, because I put the red ones on the bottom and then just piled the extra ones on top of that. So we have a bunch of different colors in there. But I'm thinking that looks pretty good for shaker bits. I want it to shake around. I don't want them to get stuck and just be piled in one little spot. Oh, get off there. Heavens. I think I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm making a mess. This shaker business is hard work. Okay, I'm going to go with that. So see, I have a whole bunch left in this bag still. All right, now I'm going to try to remove, oh, that was no good, Heather. So don't do like I did and just touch the back of your tape with all the stuff still on your hands. So you might want to make sure your hands are clean before you touch them on anything. Let's see if we can get some of these off of here real quick. In the long run, it's not going to matter because we're going to stick this piece on there. Okay, I'm going to go with that, like so. Wipe it off of my hand. And then I want the pink side to be down, so I'm just going to put this over the top of this bottom section and smooth it on there so that when you turn it over and you shake it, you see the little pink paper through the outside. Okay, so let's put that aside for a second. Next, you're going to do, whoops, don't lose that in case we need that. You're going to do the little red piece. All right, refill, which worked out perfect because the timer was going off to take dinner out of the oven. Otherwise, I might have burnt. All right, so we're going to put this on top, like this. And then next, you're going to have this little piece for a heart. You want to put that on there. I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back just to hold it down. You could also pop it up if you wanted. And I wanted the little dots to show through, so I went ahead and kept it onto the red piece. And then next we are going to put this piece down. So I'm going to go ahead and just do some liquid glue on here just because I'm afraid when I push down I might push down too hard on my piece of paper and pop it off of my foam tape. But that's why I put this strip up here, was because I knew it was going to hang over the top. Okay, and then we'll flip it over. And I kind of squished it down a little bit towards the bottom so that she would have a little bit of room to hang up off the top. Like this. And you can also, with this little E right here, you can put a little bit of glue behind this little piece in case you're worried about it getting caught on anything. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little dab of glue behind there and touch it down. And then also in your little kit, I put the words love. When I cut this out, I just saved them all together, but I didn't bother bringing that part in here. I just brought the little center sections for the O. But in yours, you get the word love. So you can also use that on a whole different card if you wanted. I'll put that here. And then this time, I didn't put this little dot for the E down last time, but I think I'll put it down this time, because I think last time she kind of sat in that spot, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So let's go ahead and just add that. Okay, and then you kind of move it around where you want it. Hold this down a minute so it will dry. I got a little bit on my acetate, so I'm just going to wipe that off a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, then for our girl, I didn't pop her up because I thought it was popped up quite a bit. But I want her wings to remain free. So she only kind of goes up to her hair and the rest of her floats off. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue on the inside here part down to her foot. And then I kind of made her sit between the E and the V. Like this. Kind of decide where you want her to go. And then I pushed her down, but her wings here I left so they could kind of be flapping up. And this little E right here is not wanting to stick down very good. Okay, and then you're going to have your little hearts. You're going to attach those. Let's put a little bit of glue on the back. So, I'm going to make this one hang off a little bit. Like this. And there you have it, Tilda with floating hearts. Isn't she cute? A little shaker card. So this is a card kit, don't forget. So if you want to grab her, I put a link down in the description box. I would love for you to come shopping with me. If you have a question, leave me a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd love for you to become a subscriber. Otherwise, I hope you are having a fabulous day and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.